Probably should put up your lower third.
No, I don't need that because what's up, YouTube? I'm Chuck the Liberty Geek, and I don't need my lower third, but I'll make it anyways while we're talking. We got a good topic today, but first off, before we start, Amazon just bought Twitch! Yay! And that's good because it's not Google.
Yay!
That's pretty much the only reason it's good.
There's some interesting things that could come from that, like, perhaps Twitch streaming from mobile apps on their Kindle. But
oh yeah,
perhaps
that's gonna be awesome. And you shut up, reverse mirror stream. So interesting show for you tonight. We're gonna talk about swatting and how it relates to statism in an odd sense. Now, being Liberty Geek show, of course, I will try to find a way to make it fit in the statism, but this one's pretty obvious. So, thank you, Adam, for joining me for the time you have. I know there's a crisis going on, but, man, this is more important anyways.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll be able to handle that. No problem.
but,
yeah, go ahead.
But we also have Randall Parker Jr. joining us later on the show, which will be cool. So, all right, swatting. What is it, and why is it getting attention now of all times?
Well, what we should mention is that... actually, I think I just cut you off. I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. Go on.
So swatting itself is simple. Swatting is... I said it's simple. Okay, so let's pretend Adam and I are playing a game, okay? We're playing a good old game of Counter-Strike. Now, because Adam sucks at everything he does,
yep,
I beat him. So Adam says, well, you know what? Guess what? The cops are on your way to your house because I just told them that you killed somebody. And,
Yep. I'm going to do it.
So basically what happens is...
there it is.
through any sort of means on the internet, Adam uses his hacking abilities or whatever abilities to find out my address, and he will call the cops. And generally, when someone is swatting someone else, they will tell the cops that there's been shots fired at this particular address, which happens to be the other person's address. And, or in some cases, it'll be bomb threats or anything like that to get the cops to come to your place. This is particularly popular to do on people who do live streams, such as on Twitch.tv, because, then other people can see it happening, obviously. And this has been going on for a long time, but this recently caught mainstream media attention. Like, even The Blaze picked it up, and fuck those guys.
Yeah, this happened in a small town in Denver, or not in Denver,
Colorado.
In Colorado. Right out near Denver, actually, is where this little town of Littleton is. A group that I tend to watch all the time. Gasp, shock. I watch gaming videos. I don't watch just anarchist stuff. Who knew? No, I watch
like my little wrist waving.
Yeah, so I watch a group called The Creatures, and their leader, or the people they claim is their leader, his name is Kutra, also known as Jordan Mathewson. He was doing a live stream of Counter-Strike Go whenever he saw out of the corner of his eye some officers running through his building. He was like, oh shit, guys, I think I just got swatted.
Oh, yes. And I was watching this live, too, when it happened, and it's really funny how he knew, because you could hear noises in the background of his microphone, right?
Yeah.
But you just ignore it because it's background noise, and then he looks back while he's playing, and he's like, they're clearing rooms. Oh, shit. I think I'm getting swatted. And he was so casual about it, too. That was, like, my favorite part. But
and just seeing the terror on his face, I mean, he tends to be pretty nonchalant and chill about a lot of things.
No, even when he was scared,
he was fucking terrified of guns pointed at him.
It's true, and even when he was scared, he was still being casual about it. Like, okay, so he's playing CSGO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. They bust in his room. They all have their guns pointed at this guy, who has not done a thing. He's just playing video games, and they're basically yelling at him, "Get on the ground, get on the fucking ground!" And all sorts of other things that that cops shout. And he was kind of like, luckily he knew he was getting swatted. But imagine if you didn't know, right? Like, so basically, but Kroot is famous enough via the creatures that this has caught mainstream media attention. And not only that, I think this also caught mainstream media attention because of the fact that this is the worst response of the cops for swatting I'd ever seen. Okay? I've seen this multiple times. This is not like a new thing. You know, kids do it to each other on Xbox Live. People do it to almost every single Twitch streamer. Remember Swifty? You remember Swifty? Yeah, he got swatted he got swatted while he was playing World of Warcraft on Twitch, and he also had a pretty decent following, not as much as the creatures, but you know, pretty decent. Their response was they just came to his door and knocked, you know, and he was like, "Oh, this is that." Pretty much every time that it's been caught on Twitch, it's just been cops that have showed up and be like, "Hey, is there anything going on here?" "No, this is what I'm doing. This is probably why you got called." Okay. This is the first time I had actually seen anyone, you know, get so manhandled.
Right. Well, we got to keep a couple of things in mind about this whole situation. This is happening in Colorado, Columbine, the Aurora shootings. So I mean, the cops don't take you know, calls about gun crimes, you know, with any kind of lightness. And you know, we could talk about how in an anarchist society this would likely not happen. But I would make an argument that, you know, people might get their doors busted down in a free society if, you know, there was a call like this, unless they figured out that it was a prank beforehand, which there should be checks and balances to figure that out. And statism does create a lot of this problem, but we've got an asshole on the internet saying, "Hey, we've got a guy in an office who shot 2 of his office mates and is holding others hostage."
Yeah, and then he said, "If you come in." And if you said, told the cops, so this is the funny part too, he said, "If the cops come in, I'm going to kill my hostages." So the cops just bust right in anyways, right?
Right, no negotiation tactics whatsoever.
And he also, and the call also stated that they had placed bombs around specific areas. And so they also locked down schools in certain areas and they evacuated places. And Randall, you've been quiet. What do you think? Is this crazy to you? I know you're not a super gamer.
Fucking insane. Absolutely.
Have you heard of this before?
No, dude. I'm just finding out about this today. I mean, it's like the next level of the pizza prank where you call like and order like 10 pizzas for a buddy.
Yeah,
and like...
that used to be the big thing on Twitch. Was like some hacker found out your address, so he ordered a pizza for you. And now it's like we're calling the cops, and it's like, what kind of world are we living in? Where, you know, cops just do this? I mean, could you imagine this happening back when like cops actually? I don't want to say did their jobs because almost never, but you know what I'm saying. Back when they weren't so militarized, you know.
The gene pool is getting watered down. I think that the level of scrutiny or the level of I think they just need bodies. Just like you know, I used to sell cars. You know, you get to the point where the dealership kind of has some bad advertising and they get some bad reputation going, and like the good salespeople don't want to work there, and you just notice like worse and worse jerk-offs are getting hired because it's like. They really just need bodies to put in there at some point.
And it's crazy too because like if you had looked at if someone had stopped, especially a cop, had stopped and looked at the scene and noticed nobody was running around in fear, right? The place wasn't deserted. They had to get people out, and people had no clue why they were being evacuated. You would have thought that would have thrown a red flag at someone to be like, "Hey, maybe this is a prank call," you know? Because
the fact that there wasn't
and I know we had to take it seriously
from that place, you know, the fact there wasn't 10,000 other calls from that office itself, that should speak volumes.
Because you would think more than one person would have called the cops on this incident.
Just a little bit.
I know, and like I said, like when Swifty was, you know, I almost said pizzaed. When Swifty was, you know, swatted, but the cops just came to his house and be like, "Yo, is there anything going on here?" And he's like, "No, come here, I'll show you what's going on." He's like, "The internet, they probably called you." And, you know, he was on stream, too, and then the cops just left. In the other guy's case, in Krootra's case, I like to call him Kroota, but I know that's wrong. I don't know if you saw the video, Randall, but they handcuffed him to his chair, even after seeing that he was unarmed and he was just playing a video game. They handcuffed him to his chair, and I can't remember how long they held him. I think 6 hours they held him or something like that.
Yeah, right. It was about 6 to 7 hours or so.
And on top of that, the thing that scared me the most was the cop looked at him and said, "How do you turn off this camera?" I mean, like, if if you're doing your job, first of all, he has a right to film you on his property. Second of all, if you're doing your job, why are you afraid of that, you know? So that actually kind of made me nervous for the guy's safety when they turn off the camera, like, you know. But he came out okay. He said he came out okay, but
And
what?
they've got a panel at PAX, and there's no doubt that they're going to be
Talking about this
with questions with that. And maybe they'll try to hold off there and save it for their Creature Talk podcast they do. But one of the things I really wanted to mention for this, and you guys are going to do a great job talking about the militarization of police and all that bullshit. Just think in a free society if somebody were to do this. Let's not think about the cops right now. Just some asshole on the internet, like this guy Screwpaint, who took credit for it, whether he actually did it or not is something completely different. He could be just a complete full of shit asshole, but
lots
if
of people
somebody
take
did
credit.
this, right? If people did this in a free society, social ostracism would be just as huge against them because of their, you know, not only are they crying wolf, but they're also, you know, causing potential damage to people's lives and property. You know, just like in a free society, people who make false rape claims, they would be subject to some kind of a criminal, you know, some kind of action, some kind of ostracism. So people like this, they'd get taken care of. People would raise red flags. Hey, this guy, this asshole over here, he's called, you know, SWAT teams and police officers on these 5 guys for doing nothing wrong. This guy, now let's not do any business with him. Let's not insure him. Let's not take any calls from him. Let's blacklist him from being able to call this protection agency or that protection agency until he shows that he's better. So that's all I wanted to mention today. So.
And, you know, it's a really good point because my angle on this was, well, there'd be no cops in an anarchist society. Maybe some sort of security, but I'm pretty sure with competition of security, they would have ways to devise if things were actually going on. Like, you know, if they have all those satellites, no one could have taken a picture. I mean, not one. I don't know how. Okay, maybe I don't know how satellites work, but you would have thought the military takes pictures. No one could have taken one single fucking picture of this address to see if there was something going on, if people were running or something like that. I mean, in a free society where competing security forces would have to compete to do something like that and look good, because now, imagine if this had happened in a free society, right? And the Freedom Cops showed up, like, you know, a security force, you know, a private security force. Now, not only would the person getting swatted kind of be the victim here, but this security company would have just made asses of themselves, right? I mean, that's a great way to get fired, is, in my opinion, is bust in on someone's house, point guns at them, and tell them to get on the fucking ground, and, you know...
Right, and the sad thing with that is, too, in a free society, that company would actually have to refund the guy who they just fucked with, even and especially if they did damage. So that's about all the point I wanted to make. I'm out, guys.
Yep, see ya. Have fun with your crisis there.
Later, Adam.
See ya. So, I guess it turns out to be that, Randall, I mean, this affects me personally, man. Think about this. I have a gaming YouTube channel, right?
Yes.
So do the creatures, and so the creatures also have a Twitch. And my gaming YouTube channel also streams to Twitch. And guess who does all of the streaming to Twitch? This guy. My friend Matt doesn't do the streaming, I do. So what happens if I get popular now? Do I have to worry constantly about getting swatted? I mean, it creates this element of fear almost, you know?
Yeah.
I mean...
How public is your address?
I mean, I don't go around advertising it, but, you know, any hacker could probably find
somewhere.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, any hacker. I mean, I've been told it's super easy, really. Even if you kind of sort of know what you're doing, it's super easy.
I found a lot of people's information. I'm not going to tell anyone right now on the show, obviously, because of the context, but
right.
I know means to do that. That's not hard, but not everyone's information is going to be found either.
Right,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you know, if I become famous off of it, which I probably won't, wishful thinking, but if I did, I mean, in our police state that we're in now I have to worry about, for being famous and playing video games, I could potentially be killed for it because one of my people that doesn't like my show for some reason calls the cops on me and, you know, says I have a bomb and they just shoot me. Because what if I happen to have an actual gun near my house for, you know, for defense or anything like that?
As you should.
I know. So what if I had a gun at my desk, right? I don't know who those people are that are busting into
They
my
would
house.
probably open fire. That's the fucked
Even
up
if I
part.
didn't even notice. I mean, I'm probably wearing headphones anyways. So, they'll shoot me too, and then hopefully in my death there'll be a new Ferguson, but probably not.
Nah, but like honestly, like it's pretty fucking scary. And like you said, in a free society, like the cops not only would, or security providers, whatever, not only would like look really foolish, they would have to go find out like whoever submitted that like tip or whatever, go prosecute them and get like, because now you're the victim. Now you're the one that like should be compensated back from them, because
who knows what they broke, you know?
Yeah, but just
Probably
the
his
terror
door,
of like
at
having
least his
police
door,
like
you
fucking
know, yeah.
barge in your house and shit.
And I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure because I don't look up the guy's address. I'm pretty sure he might live in an apartment and something like that. So now imagine, you know, he would probably be in trouble with his. In today's society, and I'm not talking about in a free society, like the society we have now, it makes you wonder, people who don't know what he does, right? Now they're just going to be ignorantly looking at how cops busted in his house and wondering, did he actually do something, and should they be afraid of this guy? You know, because they might not know what it is. You know?
How are they getting tips like that? Like, it's almost like if
someone is calling. I mean, you know, it's easy nowadays to spoof a. They got a call from a landline, which doesn't really mean much anymore because it's super easy to spoof phone numbers too. But they'll call the police, the local police department, and you know the local police department says, "Okay, do you have an address where this is happening at?" And they'll give the streamer's address or the other person's address. Like I said, it doesn't always happen to a streamer. One time it did happen to a couple of kids on Xbox Live, but generally this happens to streamers, so they can have it happen live and they can see what their work gives them. You know. So
you got someone in the chat saying that he thinks it's fair enough to say that the cops have to respond to this kind of thing. I mean, I don't know if I would say it's fair enough to say that. What do you think?
Well, okay, being realistic, I would say they would have to at least, and I'm not talking about a free society, I'm talking about now society, right?
Okay.
I would say that they at least have the obligation to respond to the situation, to at least make sure that there's something not happening, but no one even, you know, looked. From what it looks like, no one even looked, you know? All you have
I just
to
feel
do
like back in the day they would just send one guy,
and be like
Officer Tim O'Grady, and be like, "Hi, ma'am. Is there a Chuck Ford upstairs and playing in his bedroom, playing video games?" Yes, yes, sir, he is. What's this in regards to? Well, we understand he's a terrorist and he's planning a bomb threat. That doesn't sound like
what?
My son. No, I don't think that's true.
And
you can go up and talk to him. I'm sure he'll show
answer
you
any
around.
questions, right?
Yeah.
You know. Like, oh yeah, here's my bomb, officer. You know,
right?
Like,
well, here's where I keep the plutonium. And
but no, I think in today's society, yes, the cops have an obligation to, and I know Michael's gonna probably yell at me for advocating something state related, but I said modern society, what we have now, not my ideal society. I would say that they have an obligation to respond, but they also have an obligation to at least look into what they're responding to. I mean, doesn't that already make them look bad? Look at their level of their intelligence.
It's like cops already have this habit of not giving a shit about what regular citizen meat puppets have to say. So it's kind of like when you're in public and you go up to a cop and you say, "Excuse me, officer, do you know how to get to wherever?" And half the time they'll tell you, half the time they'll treat you like you're trying to attack them, and they'll be like, "Back in your vehicle," whatever, depending on what town you're in or what part of the country or whatever. But my point is that like we have that like disconnect of communication, and then so when they get the actual call in of the threat from someone like or whatever, they don't think to ask while they got the guy on the phone, like ask him a few more questions like, so how do you know this guy is a threat? What evidence do you have? What other information can you share?
And the other question that Matt asked was, why don't they take names or trace calls? Because A, that costs money. And B, those things, even on a phone landline, those things can be falsified anyways, You can use Skype to spoof a phone number and then just change your IP afterwards, so then the trace is completely pointless and that it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, there's a million ways that you could spoof it, so it's almost like even if they did track them, they might not even get the right guy. And it's sad because almost every single instance I've heard about this, the swatter, the one who called the police, I've heard about him getting away with it.
Right.
And in a free society, I don't think they get away with it because those, like I said, those security force people that the neighborhood is hiring would definitely not want to make asses of themselves like the cops did this time. So they probably would have to make sure that this is legitimate before going in by asking more questions, checking out the scene. So
I also don't think there'd be any incentive really, like, because if it wasn't a SWAT team going and doing it, it wouldn't be funny enough to do it as a prank. Like if just one guy went to your house and was like, "Oh, let me knock on the door and get some information with the clipboard," it wouldn't be funny.
No, it wouldn't. It absolutely wouldn't. And I think it adds up to a really disturbing trend of just from the police state is so bad now that we have to worry about gaming.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of my favorite hobbies. Are you kidding me? I mean, okay, here's the funny part, right? Imagine if that guy... Okay, so the guy that got all this attention for it, he was wearing headphones, right? What if he wasn't wearing headphones? He was playing Counter-Strike, right? That is a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Where they talk about terrorists, counter-terrorists, and bombs. What if the cops had heard that through his speakers? He would have been dead. Gun next to him or none. They would have shot first and asked questions later and gone, oops, what a tragedy.
Just like they killed that kid in Walmart.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's not a video game, but he was holding a toy gun. He was playing
holding
a
toy
game
gun.
In a sense.
My sound effects could get me killed. It's like it's a scary thought. And, you know, imagine, okay, Randall. It's like, imagine that you get swatted. And I know you and your girlfriend, or at least your girlfriend, you guys knit, right? I believe you do too, right?
Oh, I'm a knitter, bro. Look at my knitting sensation creations right here.
So, I mean, what happens if you're knitting, right? They see you holding the knitting needle. They think it's a knife.
It's a weapon.
You're gonna get shot. You're gonna get fucking shot. So, I mean, it's like, now we have to be worried about what we do in our own homes just in case we get swatted. I mean... It's a scary thought.
I'll tell you what, Chuck. I live in a town right now. Granted, I'm leaving out of here probably Sunday morning to my next destination on the trip. But I'm living somewhere right now that doesn't even have a police department in the town that I live in. There's a post office.
That's crazy.
There's no police department. No fire department either.
That's crazy cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I dig it.
Let's see.
Cops just drive through town. They don't ever really stop and hang out.
I mean, yeah. I mean, where I live, we don't have our own police department, but the city contracts to the county department anyway, so
right.
We still get fucked. But it's like, it's kind of weird at the same time. Like, okay, haha, it's a prank. It's hilarious, except it's not. And in a free society, okay. Here's a question. In a free society, is there a chance of this sale happening? Yes.
There's a chance. It's just not economically. There's no incentive really for someone to do it. I don't think.
In a free society, there's a chance for anything to happen. That's the thing. You know, people will still kill each other. People will still rape each other. People will still swat each other.
Yeah.
But your chances of being swatted, at least, are much lower because
you have to pay for the SWAT team.
Yeah, your neighborhood might not even have one to call you. Could call on you, you know. So then, who are you gonna call? The guy's neighbor? Like, you know, you should really go shoot your neighbor, because that'd be funny because he's got bombs. Like, no, that's not gonna fucking happen, you know. So, I mean, do you think that there's do you think that this means that people should be afraid of not just playing games, right? But do you think this is like, okay, for people like me, right? Do you think we should be afraid to, you know, stream on Twitch now? Like, is it a legitimate fear that we should have?
Yeah,
especially
I mean,
if we get famous.
To some extent, the fear is there not just from the swatting. You know what I mean? The fear is there just because, like, just doing this podcast. You know what I mean? Just the fact that you're saying, you know, the state is aggression, or saying that cops wouldn't have their level of power. Like, they would be completely a different type of organization in a free society. They'd be accountable and they'd be fireable.
Oh, because you know no one's gonna get fired from this.
It's just, yeah, you're by us doing this, what we do just alone, let alone even video games, you would think is more innocent, but yeah, just putting yourself out there, man, just putting a blog post out there, you open yourself up to some degree of potential for something to happen, I feel.
Oh, I think the best way to get over or to deal with it is to this might sound corny, but I think to just keep doing what you want to do and don't worry about it, because it's kind of the joke about back when I was a statist, where if you give up your freedom, terrorists win, right? So I mean, let's in a more modern sense for me and my thought style, if you give into these swatters and just be afraid to do what you want to do, even as a hobby or even as a living, those swatters win, and it's like that might not be their goal is to take you off permanently, but if less and less people start streaming, there's going to be less and less content to put out there.
Dude, if you could build like a trap door so that when like you're being swatted, you could like slide out of like a secret hatch.
Do it right under your desk, live on stream, like your audience just sees you go whoop, 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 and they're just like, where'd he go?
Swat proof, baby.
Yeah, but doesn't it scare you that they asked a guy, how do you turn off the stream before they left? Like
usually they just break it. That's
I know.
Protocol.
It's like you could hear him telling the guy like, okay, this is how you did it. Because first the cop saw the webcam, so he walked over it, put it on his desk, and then he saw the microphone and he was like, oh shit, I'm being recorded. I can't hit the guy right now. I'll have to wait until later. But like that scares me. Like,
because I feel like cops are like, I came all this way to do some copping, and this guy appears to be innocent, so I gotta figure out something I could break, or a dog I can shoot, or I gotta punch the kid's mom or something. I gotta do something aggressive here. I wasted my time here. Someone promised me aggression, and I'm sitting here being polite. This sucks.
Yeah, and
cops,
I mean,
like they salivate at the chance to.
And I'm pretty sure, I think like 4 or 5 guys busted into this guy's room while he's streaming, like. And I mean, like, he got on
What
the
if he
ground.
stopped? What if he stopped playing games like 2 minutes before the swatters got there and just started like fapping to something? You know what I mean? Like, oh
no, like oh shit, wait, let me put this away, man.
He's being aggressive just onto himself.
But like, I mean, what if he had been cleaning his gun when that happened too? Like the scary
that would
stuff.
be the
What if
end
he
of
had been
the
cleaning
day.
his gun, his legally owned gun?
Doesn't matter.
He'd be dead.
End of the day. End
Like,
of the day.
my
Game
gun's
over.
disassembled here. How am I gonna shoot you with it? No, we can't take that chance. Because they're trained. They're trained like the military. Shoot first, ask questions later. And,
Yeah, we joke about it, but it ain't funny, man. It's scary out there.
It's funny, but at the same time, it isn't funny. So.
Yeah.
I mean. Oh man, I rue the day that this starts happening to non-gaming people too. Like, I rue the day that like Michael Shanklin gets swatted. Like, it could happen to him. A statist could do it to him.
He's talking like Walter Block or something, and he's like, "Get down on your knees!"
He's talking to like Stefan Molyneux.
It'd be so funny if it wasn't even a real cop. It was just a bunch of voluntarists like trying to prank with them or some shit.
Oh my god, that'd be the ultimate prank. But now we can't do it because we said it on it. Oh, Michael Shanklin doesn't watch my show, so he'll never hear about it.
He's everywhere, man.
Oh, he's like Big Brother. He's always watching me. Oh, but we got 2 minutes left. So, do you have any last-minute remarks you want to make about swatting in the state in general?
Yeah, don't be a snitch, man. Snitches get stitches. Don't. Even if someone was doing something wrong that was not actually gonna hurt somebody, like if they were smoking a joint, or if they were, saying something that was, offensive. Don't be a snitch, man. Be an example of who you want to be. When you do that, you're bringing that back on yourself. If you think you're getting away in that prank, you're not. Karma will fuck you in the end, I think. That's my belief.
And I think that to end the show, I think I'm gonna pin this comment out for everyone to see. Beebs Magoo says cop smash, and that's basically what it comes down to, everyone. Cop smash.
That's dope. I want to know how to do that on my show.
I'll teach you how to do that later.
Show me the ways.
I just discovered it. Like, a couple weeks ago, and I've never used it. This is my first time to use it.
That's a
But,
dope
you know,
move.
yeah. But you know what, guys? Thank you so much for watching. Be safe. Don't fear the cops. Let the cops fear you. But don't do anything stupid. But don't go trashing people's shit, okay? I'm not advocating that. So I don't want that coming back on me like, well, Chuck the Liberty Geek said that I should harass you. Don't do that. But what I'm saying is don't stop your Twitch streams. Keep on streaming if you want to do that. And just, you know what? Don't let them win. They think it's funny, so you know, maybe you'll get a lawsuit out of it. Probably not, but one could hope. And with that, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Peace out, y'all. Liberty.